We don't say, I want to be a groom. That is not something boys grow up to be.
Yeah.
I got bad news for the ladies who are out there. Women, a lot of times when after they go through puberty or near puberty, you ask them what do they want to be, and they'll say fairy princess or a bride or something to the effect of like, I can't wait to get married and something like that. Men don't do that. We don't grow up. We say when we grow up, we say we want to be an astronaut. We want to be a fucking doctor. We want to be a firefighter. We want to be a superhero. We don't say, I want to be a groom. That is not something boys grow up to be.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For us, marriage is something that allows us security. But the wedding is not for the man.
Yeah.
It's for the woman. I think we can all agree, right? She's the one making the decisions in the wedding. So when you have that type of situation, what a guy would want is, how can I keep her close enough in an orbit where I receive validation and or sex, but not commit? And a lot of times, I'm not saying 100% this is the situation that you're going through.
He's literally saying he can't commit.
Yeah, that's exactly. But like, do you understand? You're putting in all this effort.
Yeah.
But do you understand how convenient it is? It's like you took the OF down and he still can't commit. Now, if it was a situation where it was like he would have never committed, but I'll bet you if we go through his past, like it might be a situation where he was never going to commit with anyone ever. And this just gives him a very easy excuse. You see this oftentimes with couples that are very toxic or passive aggressive, where they'll come up with things like they'll legitimately save things for later to use in order to eject from a social situation or start a fight. Or a lot of times someone in the couple will do something like, well, I can't believe you did this, and they storm out, but they stormed out because they had a date with someone else. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and they're doing that behind your back. A lot of times that'll happen and we won't know until after. There's a lot of dudes really pissed at me right now. There's a lot of future memes that are pissed at me right. Listen, I'll give the game away to both sides. So that's essentially what's going on. And I've seen guys do this and I've seen girls do this, right? Because that's what we'll do. But people will get confused. They'll be like, no, but he said all these words and he did all these things and he validated me in so many different ways. That does not imply that he wants to be in a committed monogamous relationship. That is not what that implies. What it implies is that he wants the validation. Again, if you had a brother or a cousin, a male cousin, okay, family member, and he came to you and he was saying something effective, she keeps sending me like implied nudes, but whenever I ask her to come hang out with me, she never comes to hang out with me. What would you tell your cousin? You'd be like, she
just wants attention.
She wants attention. She's bullshitting. But in his mind, he's like, no, but she keeps complying by sending me semi-nude, whatever. So that means she likes me. Does that make sense? Do you see how it's confusing?
Yeah.
How one thing is like words, or in this case, photos, and the other thing is an action. Remember when I had Knight and Bishop, we did the debate, and he goes, Michael, how can you teach men to figure out whether or not women are genuinely sexually attracted to you? And I was like, and I couldn't figure out the question. I was like, why are you asking me this? He goes, how do you figure out if a woman really is genuinely sexually attracted to you? And I was like, yeah, because they have sex with you. That's why they do it. But when people were like, how do you figure out if a man really wants to get married to you? He asks you to marry him. That's how you do it. It's not from reading a book on love languages. People will make the difference from their actions. It's like the analogy I used with you last night when we were talking about people who love their country. Those men who stormed Normandy Beach in 1944, to me, they didn't get emotional and they weren't histrionic. They showed their love for their country by being willing to die for it. You show your love for your country through actions. Through actions. And man, the world gets so much simpler when you just remove the words and all the chaff and all the fucking distractions, and you just pay attention to people's fucking actions. Everything becomes clear.